Hello everyone, welcome back to Yakuza the Kiwami of 2. Dan here.
You know, in a lot of ways, I've realised something. I've become a gatekeeping arsehole, and I'm actually okay with it.
What happened? What did you do?
Oh, I just watch like videos about Armored Core 6, and then every time someone who's like a veteran Dark Souls player who's playing it, because obviously it's from software, and he's like calling it, and he's saying, "Oh, your stamina runs out." Your stamina. I'm like, "It's energy, you fucking peasant." Stamina.
I haven't seen that. The most I've seen is a number of Souls fans getting fucking folded by the helicopter of all fucking things.
Wow, the one boss that's not obnoxious bullshit on the first playthrough.
Yeah.
I mean, Beltius is the actual like.
Oh, he kicked my ass like when I was streaming him last week. I beat him off stream, and because I've been playing it more off stream than anything else. But I do want to stream it again to basically show that I can actually beat him. But he was hard. In my defense, I was also tired, hungry, and it was in the middle of a long stream.
Yeah,
and I was trying to end the stream at the time.
Trying to end it on Baltius is pretty hard or pretty difficult on the first playthrough or
Yeah.
first time. I will say
I can fucking like I got an S rank on my replays on him to compare now versus then.
Once you know what you're doing, he's not actually.
Once you know what you're doing,
tough.
you got the loadout that you know is, it works for it, and you mix with that, you can kind of just devastate him.
The problem is he's sensory overload, and to be fair, there is one like minor critique I do have, which is the warning sign that the enemy's about to do an attack dodge is red, but also all of the boss's attacks are also red. So if they are vomiting out an attack or charging up an attack, which they will be doing because you're being told, hey, avoid this attack they're doing, it's red.
My strategy for fighting him has become with every one of my the loadouts that I use currently is I'm going to stay as close to you as possible. I'm going to just keep pressing the fire button. You're going to die eventually.
Yeah, that's generally the best option. If you're not talking like broken endgame weapons that I won't really talk about because you're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not there because for the people watching, as of this recording, I am on chapter 3 not because I'm stuck, but because I'm autistic and I'm trying to unlock every part so I can keep making more robots. I just want to make more robots.
Better not tell you how you also unlock parts.
I mean, I know you can also unlock parts by shooting down mechs and finding logs in the levels.
Yeah, combat. Yep, you need all the combat logs.
But I've been looking for those.
Yeah, some of them are pretty. Most of them are pretty just standard. If you just do the level, you'll find them. That one in chapter 2, where you'll have to go and find Carla. That one is like every battle log is like so far out of the way. It's crazy.
That one I have to look for, the Carla one. But yeah, I do like it. But what I wanted to mention though about the helicopter, because I wanted to mention this. So, and you can feel free to tell me how wrong I am when I say this, because I have a theory as to why they're so angry about the helicopter fight. So, most Souls games, at least the ones I've tried, other than like Neo 2, the way they usually present their first boss is they're in the tutorial, you fight them, you don't have to win. In fact, usually the assumption is you lose. Baltius, you have to... Not Baltius, the helicopter you have to beat. There is no, just lose to him and it's fine. No, you gotta beat this guy. Now, I don't think it's particularly hard, but...
He's definitely not.
But a lot of these people, for whatever fucking reason, got it in their head that this is going to be a Dark Souls game. Even though every
news outlet and YouTuber have been saying from the get-go, oh man, it's from software, the guys who made Dark Souls.
And
it's gonna be Dark Souls with mech. Every YouTube video is Dark Souls with mechs! ! Exclamation
but
mark!
What's fucking funny?
YouTuber face.
But what's fucking funny about it, though, is while that is true, and they are stupid, and I agree with you, literally every Armored Core fan and the fucking developers kept screaming, it is not a Dark Souls game. It is not a Dark Souls game.
Well, why would they listen to that? It's confirmation. You know, it's confirmation bias at its, you know, at its height, Dan. Everyone wanted it to be a Dark Souls game.
Not me! I did not!
No, but I mean, everyone who's not in the know, you know, normie trash who we all hate, as I think we can all agree on that sentiment. They all suck, and we all dislike them.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, so they all saw From Software and were like, oh, it's gonna be like Dark Souls, or what will it learn from Elden Ring, or blah blah blah, and it's like,
I'm glad that that it's literally. I know that there are certain differences in the game, but I am glad if you can allow me to describe how the game feels to me. It plays like how you in your brain, if you haven't played Armored Core in a while, how you remember it playing, if you know what I mean.
Plays like a slower Armored Core 4, which isn't a bad thing. Armored Core 4 has ridiculous speed.
Yeah,
like
I think it was a good idea to go that route, especially when it being the resurrection of the series and all. Like you wouldn't want to go that fast when the series was like that, you know, been dead for so long. It's a good idea for getting new people in to have it be a little slower, I think.
Yeah,
and also I don't think it's nearly as punishing because like the debt system isn't nearly as like fuck you.
To be fair, by Armored Core 4, like debt wasn't a major issue. The main thing with Armored Core 4 and 4 Answer is just some of the missions are fucking ridiculous. The final level of 4 Answer, when you're doing the bad route, that one is tough.
True. Yeah, Answer I know is like the hard one.
It's largely because a lot of it is multi-AC fights, but also all of the ACs in 4 Answer are as quick as you theoretically are, but they have AI precision.
They are finely tuned machines.
And like the best
if you're gonna build a joke build, good luck.
So for 4 Answer, but nobody's gonna be playing 4 Answer.
No.
The real thing is that in 4 Answer's like final mission on the evil path is it's like, yeah, you have to fight like 5 ACs on your own. Good luck, and they're all moving incredibly, incredibly fast.
But
it's not impossible; it's doable, but it is like definitely a hard stage. I don't think there's any stage in 6 that even really comes close to that, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah. I think they've, in my opinion, I think they've struck in the correct balance for all of that.
I kind of find it funny that they had Strider, and Strider is basically just Mother Will, but I don't think it's interesting to look at. The Strider is fine, I just think Mother Will looks better.
True. It is a fun one to replay for quick cash, though.
If you want to farm the easiest one is Destroy Tester AC. You can do that in like 10 seconds.
Oh, especially with later builds, yeah. I feel bad going for that though, so I don't do it. Because I'm just like, man.
He's a mercenary, you know what we're getting him for.
It's like, man. But also, I don't even bother using him to test out new builds because I'm like, what's the point in me testing out against you? You're worthless. Give me a strong guy in the arena. That'll test out my new build. I only want to test against the best, not some fucking rookie.
Yeah, well, 9ball's not in this game. Sure. I am wondering about DLC for 6, because I feel like 6 has sold probably better. I think even without looking at any numbers or anything, 6 will have sold the best in any Armored Core.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, I will say probably the funniest thing about,
I swear to God, while you think of that, if I have to see one more fucking thumbnail with a Gundam in it...
Well, I mean, I've seen people do posts where they literally call... Still people do the thing where they call mechs in general Gundams. Which I know will drive you up a goddamn wall.
Every time I see one, I see one in the thumbnail and it's like not actually a Gundam thing. It's just, oh look, we're playing Armored Core 6, here's a Gundam in the thumbnail. I'm like, I would choke your firstborn child in front of you for this slut.
But, yeah, I think, That kind of did make me forget what I was gonna say. Actually, I did have it, and then just the whole Gundam thing fucking threw my brain off.
I will say one other thing. Armored Core 6's customization is very much going to expose who has trash taste and who does not have trash taste.
Of course, I have trash taste.
No, but I mean, like, the second I saw someone post, like, oh, here's my Aldnoah Zero inspired mech, I'm like, alright, trash.
Okay, but, okay.
He's 50 Gurren Lagans. Trash.
Okay, but so far the only inspired mech I have at the moment is inspired by Serious Sam, so I don't know if I'm allowed to talk.
Well, it's not. Well, I mean, Serious Sam is not really a mech thing. So.
Alright, well, the first mech-inspired thing I'm planning to build is the Megas XLR.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just more of, like, seeing some, like, 50 million...
Actually, I probably should make a... Honestly, I should make some Getter ones, because the pile driver would be good for basically replicating the drill for Getter 2.
There is a laser lance you can get that looks even more drill-like.
I'll get more parts later on in the game. That's the other thing, is I want to have access to so many parts before I make, like, really inspired shit. Because then I have, you know, more options to make my autistic lizard brain go, yes, this is more accurate, yes.
I guess that's point. Speaking of because I was going to go to say about DLC. I'm not sure what they'll do, but I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if we see just, like, if it's not, like, proper story and it's just all more parts, and it's going to be even more specifically parts that are referencing, like, you know, older
games,
or older games like iconic mechs like White Glint from For Answer, Nine Ball from, or Nine Ball Seraph from.
That would be cool. I will say though, one of the things that's great about the game is, and this is I guess me criticizing modern AAA, is, man, isn't it great to play a video game and to feel feature fucking complete?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't mind the idea of there being DLC, but, like, if there wasn't any, I wouldn't fucking bitch. I got a complete fucking video game. I got what I want.
Yeah. I think it's kind of interesting that on the surface you think it's like only so long, but like the more playthroughs when you do like your second playthrough,
you get more decisions and choices. And more parts, too.
Not a huge amount, but it's more the way that certain levels get remixed. And then on New Game Plus, that's when it's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this entire new chain of missions.
Here's basically practically a new video game.
I will say I am expecting expecting DLC, if only because every numbered Armored Core has always had an expansion.
That's true.
And if this one sold well, even 5 didn't sell that well. 5 got Verdict Day. So I wouldn't be surprised. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Armored Core 6 gets DLC and or just a full-on. Hey, here's a not quite sequel, but you know, expansion. I don't know, sometimes they're sequels, sometimes they're not.
Right.
That is the other annoying thing, people being like, what is the Armored Core timeline? It's like, there is none. Every numbered entry is basically its own, like, universal reboot, and then they all have, like, sequels or side games that interconnect to them. So, you know. So, like, Armored Core 1 has, like, 2 expansions, and then Armored Core 2 has just the one. And then Armored Core 3 has like 6, although I'm pretty sure like 2 of them are just PSP remakes.
Oh yeah, also, when I fought the first, like, spaceship that, like, tries to bombard you, I had the biggest grin on my face as I jumped up onto it to kill it. I was so happy!
Yeah, that's how you meant to do it. I'm not going to say more about them, but that's not the last you've seen of them.
Oh yeah, I will admit, I did die... and this was on stream, I did die once to the helicopter tutorial boss, and it was because I tried jumping on top of him, and then I learned the fun way that his helicopter blades in fact hurt.
Helicopter blades hurt.
A lot of things that I died on were me being stupid, and the fact that I actively, purposefully didn't replay any Armored Core leading up to this game.
It's actually kind of difficult to replay them if you don't have original hardware.
I have original hardware. I don't have the games anymore because I did it to sell them years ago for money. But like I didn't go and rebuy them or anything like that. I never played 5. And I never played. I played original 4, but not any of the expansion. Not the expansion or anything.
That's a shame. 4 Answer is like what is actually just straight up better than 4 in like every way. I think the only advantage 4 like regular has is it's got a weird get. It's got Dwight Schultz from like A-Team and such and various other things as like the narrator, which is, as I said, an incredibly weird get. But then for some reason Armored Core 6 has a trailer with Carl Urban.
Huh.
Which, fair enough. I mean, as I said, the game's clearly sold well, or probably better than any Armored Core before it.
Yeah, which is good. Because that means we will get more Armored Core.
I will say, I'm genuinely surprised with how much like FromSoft loves sort of referencing its titles in other things. That we never saw like a special boss in any of the Soulsborne games that was basically a core.
Yeah, but one actually, as an aside too, with it selling though, is a number of like people who do have followings have come out basically as fans of the series, which is kind of cool.
We'll see. We'll see how long that lasts after the initial hype.
I've seen yeah, true, but I have seen people who got the specific Souls fans get mad at specifically like girl VTubers for beating like Balthus where they couldn't, or beating the helicopter boss in like 2 tries, and I thought that was really funny.
I'm really baffled. People really struggle with the helicopter boss.
Yeah,
it's the first I've heard of that. It's like
I've been hearing it a lot. I've been seeing it a lot.
So weird.
Like people are like, but he goes out of bounds, and like you could still fucking clip him with your gun. Also, when he's out in bounds, charge his ass, hit him with your fucking sword. It does so much damage.
Well, just wait.
Yeah, you can also wait. I thought you Souls fans were all about your patience.
You shoot him in the face.
I thought Souls fans were all about patience. Why aren't you patient?
Balthus took me, I want to say 3, maybe 4 tries.
He took me a lot, but I if I was to say, like, in terms of, like, me being conscious trying again, I would say probably, because God knows how many times I died on him originally when I was trying to end a stream, basically. But like, after that, I'd say maybe it was 4 tries with my regular build, and I said, fuck it, configured the mobility scooter, and I beat him on the first go with it.
The main thing that swapped it for me was realizing, oh right, these pulse weapons break the pulse shield quick, because it's all in. So once you could break the shield and stagger him, it just became run up and blade him.
Makes sense.
Which,
I know my one friend, he eventually beat it with a zippy shotgun build.
Oh yeah, shotgun's broken.
Oh yeah, I didn't like the original starter shotgun, but the shotguns you get after are just good.
Zimmerman basically is enough to carry you through the whole game. And honestly, if you want like probably the most broken weapons you can have right now in your playthrough, songbirds, shoulder-mounted grenade cannons. They they do ridiculous damage. They've got good tracking. They stagger amazingly. You just equip 2 songbirds and you can probably make it through virtually every boss until you get to the end of chapter 3, where you get a new weapon that will basically deal with every boss.
The spider, I struggled on with at the time, my basic configuration build. The mobility scooter, it took 3 tries and he killed it. Actually no, it was 2 tries. The first try I died because I got him to a sliver of health, and I was like, ha ha, I got you, and then he turned into Crash Bandicoot and slapped me.
Yeah.
And I died.
I think it took me, I think 3 tries, and like the second one was seeing his second form, because first time didn't know he was so melee focused.
Yeah.
Which, weirdly enough, melee is still better against him.
Oh yeah, being up close is still a good idea, because a lot of stuff can't hit you if you're like right up against his crotch plate.
The main thing that he's actually weak to is just being above him.
Oh yeah, that too.
There's like virtually no anti-air. Which
the tetrapod has some, or the quad like has advantages with.
So the chapter 4 boss is probably the hardest boss in the game. I'll tell you that for free.
But
Both some bullshit on that one.
fair enough.
I think the final boss of the good and quote-unquote good ending is probably one of my favourites, if only just because it has the best boss arena of all 3 final bosses.
Fair enough.
And you'll see when you get there. Although, bad, quote-unquote bad ending, because I ain't convinced that any of them are especially... Well, I think one is objectively the good ending, and I think 2 of them are probably equally ambiguous if they're good or bad.
Fair enough.
But I will say one of them has a really cool mission. Like, the bad ending has, like, a really cool penultimate mission.
Oh yeah, also, I did enjoy the the fucking trash can boss that you fight in before the spider boss in chapter 3. Not chapter 2, chapter 2.
Oh, yeah.
The one where Carla tries to kill you with it.
The thing that was in the preview video, yeah.
Yeah. That thing is pretty fun to fight.
Well, maybe or maybe not yet. Might have to fight another one.
Oh no, don't threaten me with a good time.
And maybe you'll have help that time. Help next time, which...
I don't need it.
Which feels odd to have, but...
I don't need the help. I actually was on a retry of the wall climber mission. I killed that boss before Rusty got to leave. Like, Rusty wasn't finished talking when I shot it down. So
I have special dialogue for that, by the way.
He was still in the dialogues and it didn't switch his dialogue to that. So I guess the game count him is gone, so I'll have to do that again, maybe even faster.
The timing is really weird because you have to because it has to be like without any other talking because
yeah.
Even things like ammo like being told, oh, you have X amount of ammo left, will also trigger or block it from happening, and it's mostly there for just like 3 extra lines. But you know,
I still want to hear
Rusty.
It's me.
Sure hope you don't have to murder him at any point in any of these endings.
I mean, he says buddy, and I played Ace Combat 0. I know I'll have to fight him at some point.
I mean, if it helps at all.
Have you found what you're fighting for yet, buddy?
Well, so that is also kind of similar to... So, I mean, obviously you've heard of White Glint from 4 Answer.
Yeah.
So White
Never
Glint
played
is
it,
also,
but yeah.
Yeah, so White Glint is also the name of the final boss in 4, who serves a very similar role to Rusty, shall we say, throughout most of that game. Of, man, he's a cool guy who just wants to be friends with you. Oh, he's the final boss for reasons.
Buddy.
Although I don't think Rusty ever is a final boss.
It would be cool, though.
Definitely cool. I think cooler than who one of the final bosses.
Oh yeah,
is.
I did that one mission where you fight with Swinburne, where you have to assassinate him. I know there's a option to not kill him, but I killed him too fast to even really trigger that. I was gonna kill him anyway in this playthrough, but still.
Yeah, if you want combat logs, you're gonna have to not kill him.
I can replay it and try to kill him not quite so fast, so I can let him go to get the log.
Also, there is there is also another log you have to get from a tetrapod MT that is right next to a whole bunch of guard MTs. So you need to
take them out and then kill it
without moving too far away, because otherwise all the others MTs will see you and be like, "Hey, wait a second, what was that noise?"
Dun dun dun. I laughed though when they told me to do stealth with my blue and orange ass. I was like, okay, sure.
I was playing with my Optus Prime bot at the time, so I was like, if only I could get a disguise of some sort.
Da 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 da.
Yeah, I feel like this episode is just going to be a lot of...
Oh yeah.
It's a good game.
It's
man, do I
honestly,
really
I'm going to call it early. I think it's going to be my game of the year.
I'm going to hold out hope for Spider-Man. I'm going to hold out like vague hope for Spider-Man 2, but so far.
Well, you have to consider I can't put it on the docket because I don't own a PS5.
I knew that. I was just saying is that it's high up on my list for sure. But I'm also working on. I'm also kind of keeping an eye on Spider-Man 2 because if they pulled that off, I don't know. I feel like I'd almost be contractually obligated to give it to that.
Fair enough.
How much I love it. It'd be like one of those times where like. I don't remember even saying it back in like 2019. In basically any other year, most of these like games in my top 5 would have been like really contenders for #1. But because Devil May Cry 5 came out that year, everything can fuck off and die. It's like no matter how good I might think you are, you weren't Devil May Cry 5 good.
Like I'm liking Baldur's Gate 3, which I put on pause because of Armored Core, but like. And I'm gonna go back to it when I'm done with Armored Core, but like, I just like it better.
Yeah, that's fine.
Really it.
Like, people can like different things.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both good games. But Armored Core, I definitely is like I said, a high chance it's gonna be my game of the year. Like there are other games this year that are coming out that I'm looking forward to, like how I'm looking forward to Wonder and Sonic Superstars. But I just don't think I'm going to like them as much as Armored Core.
Probably not. And as I said,
I mean, I'm a big Sonic guy, so, it's possible I could change my mind, but I just don't think I will, but we'll see. We'll see. Those games still have to come out. We got a couple of months before they do, because Sonic and Mario literally come out the same fucking week.
Of course they do.
Because I think Sonic comes out the 17th of October and Mario the 20th. One thing I don't like about Mario, and will definitely hold it back, is that Mario doesn't have online play with its co-op. It has a weird race thing where basically you can see them, and you're technically playing with them, but you don't really interact with them. It's really weird, convoluted, and I'm like, why don't you just make a co-op? Why didn't you just make online co-op? This is so stupid. It's so mind-boggling, and to my knowledge, if I recall, Superstar just has online play.
It might do. I've not looked into it, but I probably should, if only because it's the kind of game that's probably worth getting for my young nieces to play. Because trying to find, because problem is I thought, I'll get a second controller for my Switch so that the two of them can play Mario together, and that can solve some arguments. No, because the fucking Mario game has a crown for whoever wins. So. Because the youngest is the youngest and doesn't really know what she's doing, she always gets upset because she doesn't get the crown. So if I could get like the Sonic game with co-op and like
which won't have that,
and there's no stupid crown bullshit, then great. It might keep them quiet for 10 minutes.
At most, they might argue over which character they want to play.
Probably won't. That doesn't happen. That weirdly doesn't happen as much. But it's just the fucking stupid crown bullshit.
I mean, it could happen in Sonic because they do have different gameplay mechanics.
And then the worst part, yeah, but they're like 6 and 4. They don't care about. They don't understand that stuff.
Because they might argue over like, no, I want to play Tails or Amy or something.
They're 6 and 4. They don't care about gameplay mechanics.
Maybe mechanics. They might even just be like, would I like Tails more? Let me play Tails.
Well, we'll see. And so I'm keeping more of an eye on that. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I don't know. I'm looking at it. I didn't watch the direct today. It might also not help because
I watched it.
I was busy playing as Usagi in Shredder's Revenge.
Fair enough. But yeah, I watched it while I was eating lunch earlier.
I guess I forget.
It looks delightfully insane. Like it looks weird, and I like it.
That's good. I guess actually that's good. Prediction. Charles Martinet is retiring.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I'm gonna miss him.
And also Arlene Sorkin died. That sucks.
Yeah. That also hit me. I was like, oh. But
now we are stuck with Tara Strong Harley Quinn forever.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's me forever, Mr. J! That's my impression of her Harley Quinn.
Nearly shrieky now.
Oh, you think? Oh, so mine is more pleasant to the ears than hers. Is what you're trying to tell me?
Certainly, it's more pleasant. I remember the exact moment when I was playing like Arkham City for the first time, which was when, they didn't get Arlene back and they got Tara Strong in.
Because that was when Arlene just retired from acting entirely.
Yeah. But then, in that first moment, she opens her mouth and speaks, and I'm like, oh no! Oh no! No! I don't even like Harley. And Harley Quinn's not even a character I like. So then to have her do more talking, and then to get her own show where she's just constantly talking and talking. No! This is truly the worst timeline.
She's just going to be it forever. And she gets paid more than, like, voice actors who are... I'm just gonna say it, they're just better than she is.
I mean, that's just because she's, you know, been in the game she's been in the game for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, her Raven's really good. I do like her Raven voice.
Well, let's not say that Tara Strong is a bad thing.
Oh, yeah,
far
no.
from it. She's done
It's just this one that they keep.
work.
It's just this one that they keep giving her. It's just not. I hate it. I don't like it.
Well, the problem is they keep giving it to her, but also because Harley Quinn is like the center of DC's attempt at making their own Deadpool.
Which is weird. They already have Ambush Book. They've had him before Deadpool was a thing. Well, also to be fair, it's more. It feels more closer to the Venom thing, like in the '90s when Venom they were going full anti-hero with Venom.
Yeah, but I think the main difference is that Venom existed at a time where like cross media was not nearly as much of a thing. Like, yeah, in today's world, if Venom wasn't tied up in a whole bunch of rights things, and if it had just come out, there would have been like the Venom show and like 14 different Venom subtitles, and
the fact that we only have the movie is simply because only Sony has the rights to him. If Disney had the rights, we would have the Venom show like ages ago.
I don't think not these days, because Disney doesn't like to make smart ideas.
That's true, you're right, I'm sorry.
But also, I just think,
we could put anything out and everyone will watch it!
I also think to get Venom in that Lethal Protector stuff is such a very uniquely 90s, sort of a very uniquely 90s kind of thing. Like, I just don't think he would have ever... Like, he definitely would be popular, because it's a cool design. It's evil Spider-Man, blah blah blah, those things always work.
Venom is like my favorite fucking, like, Rogues Gallery member of Spooderman. I love him.
Yeah, but I just mean, he would never be as big as he was back in the 90s, because the 90s was also peak anti-hero edgelord bullshit.
True, and anti-heroes aren't as popular these days, I've noticed.
Well, largely because anti-heroes tended to be people like the Punisher, who I've long since thought the Punisher needs to not exist in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, the Punisher's lame.
Well, it's not even just that he's lame. The problem is...
It's hard to justify his existence within the Marvel Universe.
Racked up such a body count, and he's so brutal. I'm fine with there being Punisher books, but it need to be, like, a separate thing, because having, like, Spider-Man or Daredevil or any of these characters pal around with Frank Castle after any of the shit he pulls just always feels like...
Like,
no,
I can make some mental gymnastics to bullshit excuse, like, the X-Men being treated the way they are. Like, I can make some mental gymnastics to make it work, even if I still roll my eyes. But, like, Punisher... Like, how is, like, Punisher not being constantly accosted by fucking Peter? Like, all the time.
That's the problem, and as I say, that's why I'm fine with Punisher being a thing. I just definitely think if you're going to do Punisher, it needs to be separated from the rest of the Marvel Universe, otherwise it just creates this real kind of issue of, like, characters just being weirdly okay with this one psychopath.
Yeah. Like I said, there's no way in hell Pete would be a-okay with the Punisher doing his shit. Even them just both operate, like, even if you just put them in another city, it could at least bullshit, like, oh, well, they're not there. But, like, when he's operating in New York, too, like, Spider-Man's not gonna swing over and start fucking accosting him. Like, of course he is. Because that's like the opposite of Pete's mentality.
All of this to say, Arlene's Sultan died. Anyway, speaking of things dying, One Piece live action came out.
Apparently, apparently people like it.
That's good. I'm not gonna watch it, so I'm not gonna say if it is good or bad. I'm gonna say I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's a terrible idea. But why does Luffy's actor look 40 years old?
Yeah. Then again, also, what I think is funny is the fact that they... I mean, it's still better than, like, what they did with Bulma in the Dragon Ball thing. But I do think it's funny that they basically gave Nami, like, a Party City wig when they could have just dyed her hair. And the fact the actress who plays Nami has dyed her hair that color before, and it looked good. So it's kind of weird.
Well, as I said, I have no intention to watching it. If anything, I just started watching the One Piece, like, the anime from the start.
I'll see you in 3 years.
Background stuff. Yeah, well, it's mostly because I need background stuff while I do work in the mornings.
Fair enough.
And all the other shows I was watching ended.
There are worse things you could do.
I was like, you know what? Let's go back to the good old days. Let's see what's going on in One Piece when it before we get into before we even get to the Grand Line, just to see how everybody's hanging around.
Gotta go.
We can see how Zolo is just like a samurai.
Lady, no, I'm not shy.
But it's okay, because Usopp's doing that marksman thing, Sanji's cooking, and Chopper is doctoring.
I wish we could get an updated version with Frankie and the others, that'd be fun.
I don't know how they actually would have been able to adapt it.
Exactly, that's why I want it.
It is just a skeleton.
But that's why I want it. Don't you see?
Well. But anyway, it's all a bit moot point anyway, regardless if live action One Piece is good or is okay or whatever, because it's gonna get cancelled.
Oh yeah. In fact, if it's good, it's more likely to cancel. This is Netflix. If you ain't Big Mouth, you ain't staying around.
Probably for the best, because some of the other live action stuff or based on popular games or movies or games or anime have been, what's the word I'm looking for? Dog shit. I say I haven't watched none of them.
I still remember that Resident Evil one where they made Claire a nerd, and I was like, I think the character you're looking for is Rebecca. Rebecca's the nerd.
You're looking for Rebecca. No one should be looking for Rebecca.
I like Rebecca. Fuck off.
Alright, let's go.
Fuck off. I like Claire too. You're only allowed to criticize me if I say, yeah, I definitely like Heather.
You know who should come back? Sheva.
Yeah, I should agree.
Why didn't Sheva come back?
She should.
Like the best part of 5.
Yeah, honestly, I like Sheva. It's kind of a shame that she hasn't come back yet. Apparently, she was gonna plan for one of the games, and they just didn't. And I don't remember the reason.
I assume 6, because I can tell you...
Oh, no, not games, the movies, sorry.
Oh, movies. Probably, like, probably the 3rd one there. The one that is just heavily based on RE5.
Probably was that one. It wasn't, it wasn't, like, the most recent one. It was always planned to be, the crew that they picked for it, which is, Leon, Chris, Claire, Jill, and Rebecca.
They're the OGs.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the first... So,
literally,
like,
you just need Barry to have it be fully the OGs, honestly. I don't either, but you know what I mean.
But, I mean, but, like, the second movie was, from what I remember, very much like, let's do RE4 without doing RE4. Which I guess is RE5 as well.
True. This guy again.
And then I think the third movie... Wait, no, the third movie is the one where Chris Redfield drone strikes the dude's wedding.
Yeah, that's the one where the guy wants Rebecca's hands.
Yeah, no one will ever convince me that Chris Redfield did not Grand Strike that man's wedding.
It's way funnier.
I don't care if it was a flashback.
Listen, he did stupid stuff with Ethan, so I could believe it. Chris, why didn't you just talk to him? Shit!
He doesn't even say shit, he doesn't say anything. His own team is like, Chris, this is a terrible idea, why didn't you just say something? I don't know, anything. And Chris is like...
That part, in terms of, like, as the writer of it, feels like someone pointed out, like, why didn't Chris just talk to him? And then the writer's just like, that's a good point! Anyway!
The problem is, it's definitely the case, so you could tell he was the writer in that instance, just going,
shit!
Bioweapons.
Nanomachines, son!
I mean, BOW is basically like the Resident Evil version of Nanomachines.
So the BSA is evil now. Why?
How does this freaky little girl do all of this ghost shit?
Well, you see, the BSA is now evil. What? Where'd that come from?
Yes, it was always evil, but it's okay because we've got Blue Umbrella. Well, we're going to explain what Blue Umbrella is. No?
No, what do you think this is? Well written? This is literally the worst. Like, Resident Evil writing is never good, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but at least
it's like schlock, you know, fun schlocky shit, where it at least works, where there's so many things where it's like, that doesn't make any sense, and not even in the, you know, haha, this is funny nonsense. This is just nonsense.
I think Resident Evil 8 is the game that the more I think about,
the worse it is.
Yeah, it's definitely like...
I don't like any of the Ethan Winters games. I fucking hate them all.
I like 7, but I definitely think... okay, I like 7 until you leave the house, and then 7 takes the nosedive in quality. I think 8 just tricks you from basically the start, like, because the worst part is that even what I thought was the best part in thinking back on it is now not great, which is Castle Dimitrescu.
Yeah.
Because at first it was like, oh yeah, it's kind of like what you want. It was kind of like, you know, what you want, you know, enclosed location, being stalked by enemies, requiring you to do this, and then it's like, the problem is that unlike the house in 7 or you know, RPD, Castle Dimitrescu is much smaller, much less involved, and also incredibly linear. So
it's kind of funny that it's smaller than the house when you think about it.
Yeah. So there's not really much rewards for exploration or looping, or like, you know, really looping back in the way that you know, people liked exploring the mansion in 1 or RPD, or even to a lesser extent the house in 7. So it doesn't feel as rewarding. The problem is, I think that's the peak of the game, and then after that, it just
gets worse.
Yeah, because definitely on like repeated playthroughs, like the haunted house, oh no, spooky doll thing is, you know, fine on a first playthrough. Once you hit the second playthrough, it's like
that, and also the fucking weird baby bit too.
Well, it's just tedious because like once you know it, it's like, oh, what the fuck was that?
What happened?
It was just a big explosion or big bang outside. That's probably fine.
It's funny as it happened at the same time I smashed a thing into the guy's face. So that's why it was like, wait, what?
It didn't hit him that hard, I don't think.
I didn't think I blew up in an explosion.
No, I'm sure it's fine, whatever it is.
Unless it's not. Oh, fuck it. They prompt hit while I was doing a combo, so I got kicked by it. That sucks.
And then yeah, it's like the haunted house, spooky doll bullshit with the baby. It's just tedious on a follow-up playthrough.
Both of that part and the I want to be amnesia today part are just fucking tedious. In fact, that was actually my critique about like that era's horror game shit, was the fact that none of it's really scary to me. It's just tedious and annoying. I used to make jokes saying that it's basically the equivalent. I used to call them like Scooby-Doo chase games, because that's what they would make me think of. Like, the chase sequences, any of the Scooby-Doo things. Like, I don't think this is particularly scary. It's just... And now I get chased by the monster, and except for I don't have cool music playing in the background from the 70s. Ah, fuck. It was too late on that input.
Ah, well. But, yeah, like you said, games of those era, like RE8 wasn't like a year ago.
Yeah. But I did not really care. I don't care for either of the Ethan Winters games. I think they are extremely overrated.
I mean, I definitely think 8 is. I think 7 is. I think 7 has a lot of good ideas. I just think it fumbles that, like, once you're past it's kind of like 3, only it at least it lasts a little bit longer than 3 does. Where
I had to reconfigure my brain for a second because I was like, wait, which 3? Because there's it took I had to reconfigure my brain to realize you were talking about that one.
Well, 3 makes you think. Well, 3 makes you think the game will be good, and then surprise, you just surprise you've just got out of the free roam kind of area with Nemesis. Or surprise, even though this game is based entirely off of Nemesis and how he tracks you, Nemesis will never track you ever again now.
Which is really weird.
You remember that clock tower bit? That's gone.
See, it's hard for me to bring up, to put energy into this one, because I just didn't like 3 in general. So it's like, eh. Like, I don't even disagree with you, it's just like, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like,
but you're not gonna get... But what about Dog Nemesis, Dan? Don't you want Dog Nemesis?
I don't care for Nemesis, period. But that's my honest take. I just don't care about 3 at all.
I think original 3 with Nemesis was a really neat idea because the whole thing was. What I really liked is that at least as Nemesis chased you. Well, I like as Nemesis chased you throughout the game. As you would progress, he would like degenerate more. Like it would feel like you're not killing him, but you are weakening him. You're damaging him. Which was just, a really nice way to have a sense of accomplishment, because otherwise you just have these invincible enemies where it's like, okay, you literally can't hurt them at all throughout the entire game, and then now you can do it. You've done the one thing that lets you kill them. But
I've just never liked Nemesis. I never cared for 3. I can't bring myself to give a shit here. I can try to feign, just like nod and smile as you complain, and I'm just like, that's about all I can do.
But I also think, like, just cutting
I could talk more about 2, like that one I like. I think 2 Remake is good, but I like the original one more. But a lot of that has to do with I like the adventure game aspects of 2 more, and they're not in the remake, obviously.
I mean, I think original 2 having an actual second campaign that's more than just the first campaign, or like the first campaign with very minor tweaks helps. I mean, like the proper zapping system, not just Leon and Claire.
Yeah. I also just didn't like Claire's like characterization in the remake either. They just kind of turned into a generic tough girl. And also now she really is horny for Leon. I mean, I get Leon's hot, but eh.
They have like one scene where they talk through bars, and then that's it until the end of the game. And even then, I still argue in that sequence you can just say she's just more relieved to meet someone who's not dead and or a zombie.
Mm.
As opposed to being like, man, I want to fuck that.
Man. Again, I don't hate 2, so it's like I'm not gonna really muster to like start bashing it. These are just little nitpicks. I just prefer the original over the remake is all, but they're both good.
I actually think Remake 2 would have been my game of the year if it wasn't, if it hadn't come out in 2019. Where it's like, yeah, doesn't matter what you weren't beating that. You weren't beating Devil May Cry 5, and honestly, if Devil May Cry 5 for at least every year, I don't think any game would beat it.
I mean, last year for me it was a hard year because that's when like all of my weird bullshit that nobody gives a shit about came out. And I was in my fucking glory while everybody else was like, there's no games, I'm dying. And then this year is just kind of like, yeah, it's fine. Games that I enjoy, but enough to me also replay old shit.
I just always love being able to piss off my one friend who really likes Star Wars, even now, these days. And every time we talk about Jedi Fallen Order or whatever it's called, and I just say, oh man, imagine being an action game that came out in a post-Devil May Cry 5 world, where your animations are that jank. God, I think I've said before, but when I saw that initial trailer and I saw the way the animation snapped into, like, you know, in that weird kind of way where they go, where it's clearly designed to operate from a certain angle, and the model will just snap into a slightly different position in order to perform the animations.
You know what?
Like, when I saw that shit, and I'm like, this is post Devil May Cry 5. You have no excuse.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That just reminded me. Sabo's not here. It would be better if Sabo here, so I could ask this question of two people. So I know you are familiar with fighting games, but you're not like super into them. I want to ask a question. Yeah. So, when you look at Mortal Kombat, and or at least in terms of its just people just talking about the game, what is typically discussed about Mortal Kombat the most? What thing or things?
What random characters are they going to put in as DLC?
Okay. After that,
the story.
All right. After that,
what projectile spam bullshit character is going to be top tier? It's never Roll's game. It's going to happen.
All right. One step after that, I'm curious.
Does it have rollback netcode?
I mean, that's every fighting game talks about that. That's fair. Okay. So I guess technically my one of my friends was right, because they're like, no, people talk about the gameplay more than the blood and gore.
Oh, I don't think people talk about the blood and gore of Mortal Kombat anymore, because it's like, who gives a shit?
I mean, the fans. I mean, if you want me to be blunt, the fans do. I mean, I'm going to say the thing that Mortal Kombat fans hate it when I say the only reason they didn't like DC versus Mortal Kombat is the fact that it wasn't rated M.
Probably.
Because it's still just as jank as every fucking Mortal Kombat game.
Yeah, well, it's never around. What do you expect them to make a non-jank fighting game? They've only been.
No, they'll tell you that they're not jank and their gameplay is best. Their gameplay is better than any game that's come out. The Mortal Kombat X had the best gameplay in the of any fighting game, and it's better than any Street Fighter game. Actual thing I saw.
Man, they've never man. They've only been making these games for like, oh no, 30
and no, the animations aren't bad at all.
They've only been making these games for like 30 years, you know. It's not their fault that they still can't get them to look nice.
Maybe they should hire some actual animators. Oh, actually, hold on. The thing that's funny about that is, they actually had an interview with Ed Boon, and they asked him about the animation thing, because people talk about them. And
the animations look so bad.
And they were like, oh, well, you see, a lot of games, they go for more exaggerated style. We're going for, atomically correct, realistic animations. And I'm like, atomically corrected, realistic animations? Are you blind? Are you literally blind?
On your big forearm demon man, gotcha.
Not only that, but are you literally blind?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you know, that's fair then.
I think Ed Boon is blind, was your answer to your question.
You know, that actually makes a lot of sense, so, you know. I
mean, I rag on lots of fighting games, but at least most other, like, fighting games have this, like, as much as I will beat the shit out of Dead or Alive as a series, at least, you know what, Dead or Alive, most of the time, at least the animations look smooth.
Yeah!
Sure, they're in service of something else.
And a lot of them are ripped from Virtual Fighter. And by the way, one excuse that, like, Mortal Kombat fans tried to make was like, oh, well, you see, Mortal Kombat is mocapped. That's why they look bad. I'm like, you know what else is mocapped? Virtual Fighter. You know what else is mocapped? Street Fighter. You know what else is And guess what? They don't look like shit!
Basically every fighting game that's not like a 2D anime fighter.
Yeah.
So it's like basically everything that's made by a company that's not called Arc System Works. And even then...
I actually don't know if King of Fighters used mocapping in the new one. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they did, but I don't know if they did.
I feel like they would have because it's full 3D, but I don't know.
It's yeah, like I said, I don't know. They could have animated by hand. They might not have. I have no idea. I don't want to give them something that they don't have, you know.
Yeah, my main point though is Mortal Kombat has always looked bad. In fact, NetherRealm's games have always looked bad. I'm not saying they are bad, but man, do they just you know the worst part is that for how slow everything is, like Mortal Kombat has, or NetherRealm's fighters in general have also always been like pointless.
Yeah, it's weird. It like the way I describe Mortal Kombat games and NetherRealm game playing, they feel like you're playing underwater.
Yeah, they're definitely slow and sluggish. Everything just feels like it doesn't feel. It's hard to explain, but it's like underwater is probably a good way to do it, but like, or a good way to phrase it. But I just mean it's also how floaty and weightless everything feels. So it feels odd to like have these like really slow, seemingly purposeful animations, but it's all in service of the combat not feeling weighty. And part of it is because like of the way models look when they get juggled, like they just fucking flop.
Yeah,
In, like,
and when they're like, and their standing hit. So I'm gonna actually point out why their standing hits feel so weird. Because when they get hit while they're standing, their actual legs and feet don't move at all. And the thing is, like, it's not so like a lot of fighting games when you get hit like that, like you don't get pushed back, but they'll animate the characters like feet and body like reacting or looking in a way that feels realistic and genuine. They're getting fucking punched or kicked around. Even if they don't actually, shift their position at all in the game, it just looks, natural. Where in Mortal Kombat, it's like you're hitting a block of wood that isn't moving. And
I just always remember the fucking flailing of limbs.
It looks like the getting hit in the game, like characters getting hit in the game, looks like a student film choreography. If you know what I mean?
I just always thinking of like Injustice 2 juggles, where enemies just become these like fucking cartwheeling, just like weird, spinning limbs of doom.
Yeah,
and it's just
and they still do that in Mortal Kombat games too. Like that's just a staple.
Oh, I wasn't implying it wasn't the case because, like,
but you played Injustice more than you played a Mortal Kombat, so
yeah. As if I would ever imply that NetherRealms might have lifted a bunch of animation data from
themselves,
in previous titles.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of companies do that. If I'm going to be fair, but
oh yeah, I mean,
but to be fair, I don't think NetherRealm should, considering their animations are trash.
Well, yeah, that's the point. At least all the other companies have the sense to, steal the stuff for themselves that's good.
Yeah.
NetherRealms is the only company that will look at their thing and go, "Man, this is bad. Let's do it again."
Look at this low kick, isn't it beautiful? As like Katana's leg fucking snaps and twine to kick upwards.
So. But yeah, I figured most people would be talking about Mortal Kombat for gameplay purposes. People who talk about blood and gore in Mortal Kombat, it's like we don't live in that time period anymore, guys. Unless your game is like actual hatred levels of edge.
Okay, so I'll concede that I was wrong because I said that usually people are talking about the blood and gore of the story.
Yeah, I mean maybe I'm just wrong because
I mean you're not someone who's into it super, so I can concede to that. I would need Sabo as well, but Sabo isn't here because he's bitch.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe he died or something.
Died. Ezra Miller got him, probably. That's usually the joke that we use.
We'll be able to... what are we going to do when we can stop beating that dead horse?
Find another horse that's malnourished and start beating it.
Yeah, true.
Maybe Ed Boon. Maybe Todd Howard. The King of Lies. By the way, I learned that apparently, and I didn't even know this, another lie from the past, Todd Howard at one point said that Fallout 3 had 300 endings.
Oh, yeah. Did you not know? That was a
No, I didn't know that one.
Oh, yeah. He said that. That was a pretty infamous one.
The fact that Todd Howard keeps lying and people know it's a lie, and the fact that no one will call him the King of Lies really shows how stupid people are.
Yeah.
Because people like Bethesda.
Well, they like Bethesda game mods.
Bethesda did nothing wrong.
Except for everything.
Apart from all those things they did wrong, yeah.
Constantly.
It's kind of like... I probably shouldn't say that. Probably shouldn't say anything because that might politicize things, and fuck me, do we not need more of that shit?
Isn't that what we usually do on this channel anyway?
Oh no, the most extent we usually get for politicizing stuff is saying Orange Man bad.
True.
Which, at this point, the legal justice system is saying Orange Man bad.
Unfortunately, his cult doesn't agree.
Well, that was the thing I was gonna point out. In a lot of ways, Bethesda is just like those GOP those people in the GOP who have basically put themselves in the position of they back Trump so hard. If they bow out now, they would be admitting that they were wrong.
It's true.
So now, no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter what scenario they're into, they have to keep going. It's like being. Oh, I guess that's why we didn't talk about Prigozhin dying.
Who?
Leader of the Wagner Company, the guy who started the rebellion against.
Oh,
like
yeah,
like
him.
5 minutes and then quit, and I'm like, you just signed your own death warrant, mate.
Like, haha, no, it was a joke.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar thing in that he basically put himself in a corner of you have to go for it now because otherwise
you go through it or you're going to die. And guess what? You didn't when you had a chance, and now you're dead.
And that's kind of the position a lot of...
Like, did he think he was going to live? Like, literally, he's killed for less.
Yeah. And I think that's the position a lot of Bethesda fans put themselves in. Of, they have ridden that Bethesda dick so hard over the years. That if they now come out and say, you know, they work...
So what you're saying, they're not as strong as me, who can be like, oh, the Kenshin guy is a creep. Guess he can fucking go shit himself and die.
Pretty much.
People aren't as strong as me, and I've learned this.
I just think it's because people hit themselves to do something, and then and then rather than have like the revelation of maybe I made a wrong choice, maybe this thing that I like isn't great, they would rather just they'd rather head in the sand and go la 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 la, I can't hear you. Starfield will be great. Starfield won't just be another generic shooter that nobody's really going to care about.
There's a terrible RPG, and the character's going to be flat and boring, and it's going to be buggy. But don't worry, when I have the same conversation with the people that I've had 100 times, I know exactly the response. The mods. The only reason Fallout 76 was hated is because you can't mod it.
Yeah.
It's literally the only reason.
I love the fact that you can kind of prove this, because 76 basically copied a whole bunch of code from 4, to the point it copied a bunch of bugs from 4.
It also literally has, the one monster is literally just the Skyrim dragon code.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally just the Skyrim dragon.
Why should they have to spend all their time and money on new code, and they've got all this other code they can exploit and people...
Why go with an engine that could run properly for the thing that they want to do, when they can use this engine they've been using that was developed in 97 for MMOs in 97? They could just keep using that and it just won't work, and it's fine, because people buy it anyway. No writers anymore? It's fine. Don't. Just don't write. You don't need to.
Yeah, every time I see like a preview of Starfield that I don't watch because I have no interest in the game, but then I see like, oh, Todd Howard is hosting. It's like, why even bother? Why not just get an actual pile of bullshit and put that in the fucking developer chair? Because it's the same result.
Just get James Rolfe to break out the that's bullshit costume again.
Yeah, it's the actual bullshit, because it is ostensibly what you're going to be getting anyway, so why can't have the pretense?
Not wrong.
And I don't even understand why Todd Howard is blunt in the way that he is, because
he has no charisma. He's like anti-charisma. He's such a weaselly little cunt.
And it's not, and even beyond that, he's been caught out doing so many things that are just pure questionable. Like, he's always been the type to strawman his detractors.
He's why 76 ended up being as bad as it was, because he would just like... Because the developers literally would refer to it as seagulling. He'd come in and fuck up whatever they were doing, and then they'd have to do what he said, and then they'd leave, and then go back to Starfield, which is also going to be a piece of shit.
And then, like, you know, he always did shit like buy out the first 2 rows, or basically bribe the first 2 rows to applaud for his thing, whatever he showed.
I forgot about that! Wasn't that after he got booed for something, too?
Yeah.
Like, he was so upset over being booed that he paid people to cheer him on.
Yeah.
That is such a pathetic, weaselly little scam artist thing to do.
And it's like anytime he ever gets, and everyone who has any amount of criticism for him or his games, and he just calls them degenerates.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, you're the fucking degenerate, you little weasel cunt. You're one of the people, like, I look at his face, and he has that kind of face that I want to punch. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. If I could get away with it, I would.
He has the face of a guy who definitely got shoved in a locker in high school, and you saw it happen, you thought, no, he does deserve it, though. Like, you know, there were just some people who you think, who, like, obviously not condoning bullying.
Some people should be bullied.
But when you saw it happen, you were like, yeah, he did ask for that.
The sad thing is he probably didn't get bullied, though. Which is why he's as much of a little shit as he is. I'm not condoning bullying, but maybe Todd Howard specifically should have been bullied.
Maybe someone in Bethesda should shove his head in the toilet.
God, if only.
Do it. Do it, guys. You've got this Microsoft money now.
Microsoft owns fucking everything.
Yeah, I also had this debate of another friend who is also like a big Microsoft show, and he's like, well, Sony owns more studios. It's like, yeah, Sony owns like studios that are like 1 or 2 people max.
Yeah, and
Microsoft
owns like they're going to they're going to own Activision Blizzard. They bought out ZeniMax. Like ZeniMax is not even just Bethesda. That was a big fucking company. And yeah, they also bought smaller studios like Obsidian. Fuck, I'm forgetting the name of the developers who did Wasteland 3. I'm forgetting their fucking studio name. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up real quick because it's gonna drive me crazy if I don't say it. And let me get their name. Give me a second. In Exile Entertainment. And like, by the way, also, I know they're still claiming that Outer Worlds 2 is coming out, but I don't believe it because we haven't really seen much. And also, I don't think a lot of those like top-down games that like Obsidian would make, and like Exile would make, are going to be things that Microsoft is going to publish. So like that stuff is just dead.
For sure. But I just mean, like...
Actually, too, for people that are like, wait, why does the new South Park game look like... that's coming out look like the way it looks? It's because Obsidian developed the previous 2 games. Obsidian is now owned by Microsoft, and the IP of South Park is owned by Ubisoft. That's why. Because they hired different developers who are going to make that. That's it.
That's the point. Sony technically owns a lot of studios, but they're all like one or two person teams and indies. Yeah. Whereas Microsoft owns like proportionally a ridiculous amount of the current gaming landscape.
On top of indies.
Yeah.
Because remember, they bought the Cuphead team like during their development.
Yeah. So it's the weird thing of people don't seem to appreciate how. And bearing in mind, this is a company that already got threatened with being broken apart by the IRS.
They should have been. They should be broken up today.
And then lobbied to defund the IRS after it turned out they had a few questionable tax things, and made it and basically managed to succeed in defunding them to the point where they couldn't investigate their taxes. Well, you know, that's
capitalism, baby.
That's a bit of a concern when the one thing people used to joke was inevitable has been beaten by Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's just Bill Gates tries to conquer death itself.
And for the record, like, for me specifically, like, the only thing Sony like studio produces that I'm actually give a shit about is like the Spider-Man games. They stopped making the shit I like. So it's not like I'm biased towards Sony. In fact, Microsoft technically has published more shit that I like. So my bias should be towards Microsoft, but I'm not a cunt.
Not about bias. The problem is that the more of the share in the market Microsoft owns.
Yeah, they own too much.
The less competition you will have.
Yeah.
And it will only hurt the consumer because because once you get to a point where Microsoft can just basically dictate whatever, and the only realistic competition they have is just the Japanese studios because hey, all the Western studios have been bought by them.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely concerned that they'll go after something like probably not EA because EA is just too big. but I definitely think they might go for Ubisoft, considering Ubisoft's not had a huge amount of hits recently.
Possibly.
So, but hey, they've almost managed to get Activision Blizzard, so maybe they will also go for EA. And then once they own all the major studios, then what? Or major companies, then what? And then people will go, well, now it's okay. They just own all of Western development.
Ugh. I fucking hate monopolies.
Yeah. And the problem is that all it then does is it creates really hostile environments, and it will just get lead into more shit like what happened with Epic. Well, because Steam had like an unquestionable monopoly on PC games, Epic had to then resort to incredibly scummy tactics to try and compete.
But, like, what's funny about Steam's quote-unquote monopoly, which they didn't really have, because they've always had other competitors, it's just nobody cares about them as much. Because none of them really... The reason why nobody cares about Epics is because, while they are doing scummy tactics, the service sucks. All of these services are just shit. It's not that they don't exist, it's just that they're shit. And Steam provides a good service, that's really all it is. Just make a service that isn't shit. It took Epic... like, several years before they're like, oh, let's actually put in the shopping cart. Like, Epic's service is just bad.
I think the real concern with Microsoft will be when they do decide to get a major Japanese studio, because they've already been revealed that they once considered Square.
Square would probably want to be at this point, honestly, with the way they seem to be. But, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they try it. I really wouldn't.
I mean, we already know they tried Nintendo.
Yeah, years ago, and they got laughed at.
And I don't think they'll ever actually be allowed to.
Certain Japanese companies that aren't Square, or have a very just don't want a foreign company to own them. So.
I'll put it this way: I don't think they'll ever be allowed to buy Nintendo.
No.
Because I think in a weird kind of way, I think the Japanese government would actually intervene.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo is such a big institution.
It's basically their Disney for video games.
I think they would be very much like, no, you're not. No, you can try and pay as much money as you want. We will find every way in the world to block you and ban everything you ever do in this country if you try. So I think Nintendo will always be safe.
Yeah.
But I do think. I wouldn't be surprised if major publishers like Sega come into the crosshairs next.
But, anyway, this is a good place to end it. Yeah, it's time to leave.
Time to leave as we think of the dystopian future where Microsoft owns everything. Yes, even you.
Especially you.